One day VB will send me a slab in recognition of my efforts. I like what Gary G put there in the chat. Oh, that's good. You can't really see it. You got to be in the YouTube chat. But there is a MBVB with a little blowing thing. That's very nice. Hello to all you awesome people, says David. Genuine Comics, Dave Brink. Hello indeed. Good morning. It's I'm a little sleepy-eyed. You know when you're 40 years old, when you wake up and you yawn and you put your neck out. And now I'm like Darth Vader. I was Batman all last week because I'd done something to my neck, and now I've reactivated it. But that's all right. We'll continue on. We'll try and be productive this morning. Thank you very much for joining us here. Mark got in first. That was last night. I don't know if he is still here. He's right there. Mark's music obsession. You little ripper. I think that's your first, Mark. Thank you very much for being in here first. Peering down. It's a very intense face. What is Bancroft doing? Look, I'm wearing the t-shirt. I just sent Mark a t-shirt. Oh, he had the Tampa one. Now he's got this one. And he also got the unedited edition, which I did put back up. I have a copy of that around here somewhere. I was checking out. I hope you enjoy it. I've got to reread it. I've got to see what is in there because I haven't read it in so long. What I might have let slip with all that extra text. We got Creative WM in the house. You missed out again. Jeremy Burtz was here, as was Jav Styler. Is Jav still here? I don't know if he is. Jolly it is, though. Jolly Green's right there. This is 45 minutes ago. We got Gary G in the house. What's up? Wordsmith Forge. We got Woodrow here. Woodrow's thinking of making some agua fresca for the lads, tearing up my floor. I feel bad just watching people work, even if it's their job. I know exactly how you feel, although I don't know what an agua fresca is. Woodrow is a chef, for anyone who doesn't know. When the tree fell down in our front yard, I thought of making them some tea, some hot tea, but then I realized it was 3 a.m. in the morning. But then I realized, and I didn't even notice at the time, they're volunteers. I still can't wrap my head around that. The SES are volunteers. They come out, they help people out in floods and storms and in the middle of the night, all night. Crazy. Did I say Gary G? I'll say it again. He deserves it. How Gary G. Hopefully they will be releasing your art. It's been sitting there now for 2 weeks in LA. Although I know many of you have been similarly frustrated with the folks in the LA border security, whatever. Everyone did eventually get their packages. So, Summercroft, I don't feel it at the moment, Jolly. It's cold, it's raining, it's windy, but we're headed there. We had a sunny day yesterday. Hello, Katie. I hope you're doing well. Oh, there's Red Gaze. He said, caught you. Finally. Jeff says, yeah, just in time after the Frankfurt game. Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you for being here. Camel Moon in the house. Calling out. It's been a while since I've Darth Bogan up. Agua Fresca is the fragrance for men. All right. He's just going to spray the tradies. And hello, Jake, too. All right. What am I doing? We are today. We're working on this fella. Hello there, fella. I like how many of you caught the Shakespearean reference. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. At the end of Painted Death, our friend La Marechelle here quotes some Julius Caesar right there. Then I and you and all of us fell down whilst bloody treason flourished over us. And I also opened the book with, oh, that earth which kept the world in awe should patch a wall to expel the winter's flaw, which is from Hamlet. Dealing with immortality, death, not mortality. Lucent touches on immortality and mortality, death, what it means after we die. Hamlet. I could go a nice omelet. What's up, Mo? Always a pleasure to have the Golden Wrench himself. I am still using StreamYard. I feel bad for everyone, but also not that bad because I also feel kind of lucky here. I don't know why me instead of a lot of other people. I mean, I guess, guys like Shane and Ethan and John. Who else streams a lot? I don't know. I guess I could ask Reenie. We got grandfathered in, and I'm assuming I did. I got grandfathered in, so there will be no fee raise for me on StreamYard. I can still use all of the new things. We're streaming in HD. Skull is a tad big, or maybe that's a good thing about working digital. I can just shrink it after I draw it. Mo says I've upgraded to SchemeYard, so you can get gifted memberships. Damn it, he found out about it. Shanth, I think Shanth uses no, I don't think Shanth uses StreamYard at all. He uses some other thing. What is this madness? We're doing trading cards. Camel wants the link. All right, let's hang out with Camel for a bit. Where is the Linky Poo? Yep. Finding him. There he is. It's been a while since I've done an old Camel Moon Bancroft draw stream. Sumo won't get me with his big seed oil gifts. Says awesome one. All right. I don't know what that's in reference to, but I believe you. What else did I wanted to show before I get started as I ease into this? Oh, yeah. Let me share this. Yep. Nudge that over a bit. So I showed yesterday how I made it so now this has an actual shop thing with all the books there. And as mentioned, I did add the unedited edition. I think this is in Aussie dollars. I think it's $8 US. I'm pretty sure. Mark will be able to let you know. He actually bought it. This is what it looks like in the inside. Yeah, people like it because there's a lot more information, but I don't know, it's not really. People see a lot of text like that. They're like, I don't know about that. Too much. But also got a review here. It was I didn't see this one. It came in at the end of September from Jeremy. Can't wait for the third book. Story was great. Wish we could get some more action, but I get where it's going. Seems to be building up to something big. It is. It really is. And there will be more action in the third book. But before that, you can sign up to Painted Death. Now, this book is all action. I know a lot of you already are signed up. It's just the Lucent mailing list. I'm not separating things anymore. You're all going to the same list. I've been working diligently on this as I work on trading cards and such. So do sign up for that. Everything now there'll be discounts and stuff, when I launch. Hello.
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 How are you?
Dave says, when insecure about your art, just place loads of text over it. It wasn't that. I was just had a lot to say, first book and all. Just talking about my crackhead cut, my unedited edition.
Mm.
A lot of text in it, but people seem to like it. As it is.
Wait, the original or the new one?
Yeah, they're like, oh, I like it because I get to read more stuff. Usually I get the exact opposite complaint from people. They're like, oh, there's too many words.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah,
No
I know.
words.
Yeah, don't make me read, for God's sake.
I'm not smart enough anyway, so.
But this is the flats that I've been working on for Fractured Mind. So you can see lots of action in this one. Lots of weird, and it gets weird.
Why is it so muted? Are you gonna put highlights in, or is it like? Oh, it's flats. But never mind.
Yeah. I do flats really dark, and then I layer like adjustment light layers on top. That's how I know. That's how I get a certain effect that I like. So they're pretty dark when I do the flats.
These are
and that isn't like finished either. That's just
these are Rod's pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good because if the coloring is the same, it'll be cohesive, right?
Exactly. So yeah. And I don't have to pay a colorist. Which is
that's winning.
Camel nights can move to camel afternoons. This will not be camel nights.
Trust me. We might do an episode soon. I gotta see. I only want to do it if Rob can do it. I think even though Rob sucks at everything and he's terrible at life, like he's good at being on the show, and so let's utilize him for the one thing.
We need someone we can, really just like stick it to. Stick the knife in, twist it.
Yeah, right. Just
Rob is like Phil isn't really that guy.
Yeah, no, Phil doesn't suck enough. We need someone who sucks, and it's like Rob. So I'm gonna ask him if he's busy, maybe this weekend or next weekend, and if he's around, then maybe we'll get something together.
I think it's gonna make a lot of people very happy because
you were telling me there were people looking for it, and also. I need to get as many episodes out as I can because I am 100% canceling my StreamYard because they're telling me that they're doubling my price. And I was like,
yeah, you got which is so weird because you streamed. I mean, you did start your show that much longer after mine. But I don't know. I always think, well, it's because I stream a lot, but it doesn't really matter how often you stream.
And you say you got grandfathered in. Did you get a letter saying that, or are you just supposing?
Everyone got the email.
So
everyone got that. We're adding the thing. There's going to be new stuff. Blah blah blah. But your text was slightly different to mine. Mine after that said, "But we appreciate your patronage all these years. Your price won't go up. You will stay at the same level." So
well, then they could 100% eat a bag of dicks. I'm not fucking.
Yeah, why me?
Yeah,
I mean, it's good for me, I suppose. But
yeah. All right. That's what they want to play it. See you later.
Yeah. So a lot, and that's what I don't really get. So I'm assuming a lot of other people who have been streaming a long time got that as well. But I don't know that. I haven't spoken to anyone. I know that Dark Gift, who, he started around the same time as I did.
Mhm.
he didn't get it either. And he's streamed a lot over the years as well. Like he's been
Yeah.
streaming since 2019. He might have
What
started
about
before me.
what about Jeremy?
I don't know. I haven't asked him.
That would be a good sort of test because his channel is blowing up as well, and he does a lot of live streams, and he's getting 300 plus people, and between 10 and 15,000 views, on
Yeah.
some of those streams, and that's not nothing. So yeah, I'd be interested if it hit him.
Absolutely, yeah. He's going crazy over there.
Yeah, well, they pivoted. They were like, all right, we're not going to be doing CG convo anymore. We're going to do something that was better for his channel. So
yeah. Jake said it's because Bancroft has Riz. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Ritz, I think. You mean Ritz crackers?
Ritz crackers?
Yeah.
Tasty. Did you see on Twitter the other day, someone was asking about Outback Steakhouse?
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I said something about Kingsland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone doesn't realize, on my birthday last year, Camel and his wife took me to Outback Steakhouse so I could get the genuine Australian experience.
The American Australian experience.
Yeah. And it is a good restaurant. I do like it. It's just not Australian, There's not.
Well, it's finger quotes Australian.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Australian, mate. It's like, all right.
Ray gun style race. I actually noticed there is a guy in. Let me show you. I saw this when I was flooding it the other day. There's a guy in Fractured Mind who is doing the ray gun right there. The move that chick did in the Olympics.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Yeah, well, that's her name now, and she did that terrible breakdance.
You got it, Batman.
I think she was trying to be a kangaroo.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, but he did it first.
Is that Batman? That's
Bricktop. Remember? Did you see Snatch?
No, on the right, next to Ella, there's two eyes and an ear. You see that?
Oh, I didn't. I didn't see that. I think that's just debris. It's
all right. I was like, hey, you threw a Batman in there. That's cool.
He's blanking in the shadows.
Yeah.
That's funny. Hell, I didn't see that. Well, anyway, they won't be colored like that anyway, so he'll recede even further into the background. It's Catman, says Ellie. Ellie is now Ellie the Dreaming Chrysalis. So I'm not sure
what is a
what
chrysalis?
That means. I think it's something to do with a butterfly. Like when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. I think.
Oh, interesting.
Don't quote me on that. I just have memories of what's his face? Friggin' Hannibal Lecter, talking about from pupae to chrysalis and then to moth. Yeah. The significance of the moth is change. He says that's it. It's a cocoon.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Easter eggs.
Tell me more.
Easter eggs everywhere. I had an idea because I'm doing these trading cards. I had an idea because, I've looked at everyone's trading cards. I've got a whole stack, and because I'm looking at the back, what do you put on the back? And some of them are pretty cool. They're well designed. This is a Von Klaus one. They've got a good design on them. Battlebrick Road. But I don't want to do any of that. I remember I can't find it anywhere. I'm sure it's around somewhere, but I remember Kenneth Rocafort did a trading card with a little comic on the back, a tiny little comic.
Oh,
And I thought, that's so cool. And I actually looked at it and read it. And I thought that actually would be a lot better because it's not like I'm going to put like friggin' strength, agility sort of things on it. It's just not the kind of story. And
I think for my cheat, I'm just on the back. I'm just doing the same image, but not colored, just the black and whites.
Well, you could do that as well. I've just put quotes on the back for my sort of like random trading cards that I've done so far. The water in the pool cured diabetes. What pool? Bust size? Ella's measurements? Yeah, I'm looking at Phil Diaz's here. And he does good trading cards too. He's got like name, height, weight, that sort of stuff. I don't think it's all that pertinent. So I'm going to do little mini comics, probably like 4 panels. It's obviously going to be quite small and simple. And they're all going to be little I guess Easter egg puzzle piece sort of things to give hints and clues and stuff like that. I think that should be quite fun.
Blow me up.
Oh. Allahu Akbar.
So this was the triptych.
Oh.
That came that I'm giving out with I think it was anyone who spent over $100. I don't remember exactly. I have to check, but I printed enough of them.
Is that like foil?
They're all foil, and they connect, which is cool. But on the back, I just did it black and white. But the funny thing is that the black and whites, when you flip them, don't line up. Because when you flip them, the image is on the other side. So you got to like flip it.
I see.
Yeah. And I told them that. I was like, so A needs to be the back of C and C needs to be the back of A. And they just didn't listen. And I was like, well, what are you going to do? But then this was the card I got from, I think, Adam Miller. Is that his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
This came out pretty good. But
what's on the back of his?
It's a close-up, but it's vertical.
Oh, yeah, I remember. No, I remember.
Horizontal, sorry, yeah. Yeah, so these were good cards. I think, he probably should have like you can't read anything there. Like that should be in white or something, but that was the style he went with. But yeah, I mean the painting was great, so I was very happy with that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to get mine because they got sent to RJ, but
I have them. Here we go. Yeah, I got the whole deck. So I got
the box is really cool. I remember that.
Yeah, he gave me, and it was cool. He gave me, I don't know, like 10 Claude Agent comps.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, and
God, there's so many. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I might get an album and put them all in there. That might be cool. But yeah,
but the box is keeping them in the box is cool too.
Yeah, the box is nice, and they're all good. They're all real good. Yeah. I was very happy.
The best ones he does like the he's really good at. I remember there's one that was sort of like a knight.
Well, it's funny. That's this one,
mm-hmm.
And I think it's the first card, and it was supposed to be the she card. Do you remember that? But then like he didn't have permission or something, so he made the knight. But the knight is so much better. I actually think it came out better too. And it's a pretty badass character. Like I remember he did like a poll to see like, which one people wanted. I was hoping, I voted for the knight. So I was glad that one won. Put this back.
Well, someone says, now I'm watching 4 streams. Oi.
Oh, who else is streaming?
I don't know. I don't check anymore. I used to check. I don't check anymore.
Yeah.
So who cares? It is what it is. Anyway. Live when you're live. And anytime I had to go a bit later yesterday, and you just don't think like, oh, okay, that means now I'm, butting in on Dark Gift, and it's like, it's a whole thing.
Well, I've noticed too that like the slum streams are getting really popular, but there's no rhyme or reason for when they stream those guys.
Yeah.
And like a lot of times, like Bar will just go right after Wiggles, or Wiggles will go right after Jesus, or whatever. But I have no idea. I'm just like, all right, well, you can stream whatever you want, I guess.
I think Dark F keeps a pretty tight schedule.
Oh, okay.
But that's probably, I don't know. That's all I really know. DG Slums is Beth Slums, says Ellie. So what else has been going on? Seen any movies of late?
I saw Beetlejuice. that was a movie.
That's the one. I never saw Beetlejuice.
Really? Ever?
I tried to watch it a bunch of times, and I just was like, nah, not for me.
It's kind of like the prototypical like emo movie. It's like the beginning of that era, and then eventually it would kind of morph into Nightmare Before Christmas. When I was in college, like all the goth people were into Nightmare Before Christmas. And then like pretty much anything that Tim Burton did, kind of fell in that category. Yeah, I don't know. The thing about the Beetlejuice movie is it's just very. It would have been better if it came out 10 years ago. It's very ho hum. It's fine. It's just like one thing that they did that I was glad that they did was they didn't use a bunch of Harry Belafonte music, because I was like, oh, it's gonna be a fucking repeat. They're just gonna use all the B-sides or something, and they didn't. But then all the music they did use fucking sucked, and I was like, this is. I was like, I mean, I hate to be the guy to say like, I wish you just use Harry Belafonte music, but I was like, I mean, they used like MacArthur Park, which was weird, and it's like this really long, extended musical scene, and then there are scenes that could have been great, and it's just a missed opportunity. They go to the Soul Train, and it's like a fucking joke on the 70s show, and so like all the souls are dancing, but there's no coordinated dance. It's and there's the song was not like a cool BG song or anything. It was just, or like Earth, Wind, Fire, nothing. It was, I don't even know what it was. I don't know if it was fake or just a song I never heard. But yeah, that was bizarre. There's also like 14 plots, and one of them doesn't make a fucking lick of difference. It's actually 100% worthless. And I don't know if it's because they just is Tim Burton married to the girl from The Matrix? Do you know that if he is or not? Monica Bellucci or whatever her name is.
I've got no idea.
I thought he was. And anyway, so she has a whole subplot that is beyond what, like, you could, if you watch like an edit of the movie, like for like an airplane or for TV or something, that would be what they would take out, because it's not useful in any way. There's absolutely no reason to watch it.
I don't
doesn't mean anything.
They're dating, but he's not sure if they're married.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's what it comes off as. Like, hey, you want to be in my movie? And he turns her into his, corpse bride, and she has some cool scenes. I mean, there are some moments in there where you're like, oh, that was clever and well put together, but it's just ultimately it's just 2.5 hour missed opportunity. And then there's this other guy in there. What's his name? God, what the fuck's his name? I don't remember his name, but he plays Lydia's like husband to be, and he's very cringy, and he's on screen way too long, and so a lot of his scenes are just kind of like expanded beyond where they need to be, and it's actually kind of hard to watch at times. I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, it's fine if you really, really love Beetlejuice, I guess, but it's, also Michael Keaton is old. Like he feels like old. He's like he's just not up to. There was a in the 70s. What was his name? Adam West like reprised his role as Batman for like a TV special or something. That's what it feels like. It's just like you shouldn't. It's over, guy. You know, like just call it quits. So
Yeah. Yeah, I have no plan on seeing it. I don't. Jake says Gladiator 2 is the worst offender. I'm not going to be seeing Gladiator 2. I realized I just have almost zero interest in any of these things coming out. Absolutely nothing. Like they can
well, it's
just
just all the legacy sequels, and they're all just kind of, none of them were good. That Ghostbusters Empire I rewatched that the other week. I was like, oh, this is terrible. And when I saw it, I had my rose-colored glasses on, and I was like, oh, it's like Ghostbusters 3, kind of, sort of, if I just, squint.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's just fucking, it's bad. And I think when it came out, a lot of people were almost trying to excuse it or, like give it permission to be stupid where it was stupid or whatever. And no, it's just terrible. And that's another one too. That movie had like 14 main characters. It was insane. It was like, I don't know who thought this was a good idea. You have the old Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters, and then like a whole new group of characters on top of that. And I was like, I don't know why the fuck you have all of these people in here. That might be a movie that I actually do one of my extended reviews for, because there's so much in it that can be kind of dissected. I might just do a review too that's the legacy sequels of 2024, because there's been like 5 of them.
Yeah, it's like they're not even really trying anymore. They're just trying to keep the lights on. And and we've been kind of calling this out for ages now. And it's really difficult because people are so attached to this stuff.
Yeah.
And and I've been guilty of that in the past myself. But even when it ends up being good, you still have to recognize that this isn't the way it should be. And
Mm-hmm.
if you kind of had fast forward from the mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s to now, and you saw what was like what Hollywood was, you'd be like, oh my God, it's
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like a parody. It's like the movies in Jack and Jill. Oh wait, no, was that what it's called? No, the Comedian, or the what Funny People? That's what it's called. And they make all these fake movies for Adam Sandler to be in, and one of them is, I think, I can't remember what they're all called, but that's what it feels like. They're all like what you would imagine a parody of these movies to be, like 20 years ago.
It's like a Simpsons joke,
Yeah.
like Rambo 18, whatever. Like it was a joke. It was like it's actually pretty crazy how much the whole thing has just sort of died, fallen on its ass.
Well, I've always thought too, like your sequel, you should be able to, with that show, and it's true of like seasons of TV. It needs to be as good as the first one. It needs to be as successful, so that if people had seen the newest version first, you would imagine there'd be a lot of sequels. And so, like, the problem with this new Ghostbusters movie is it's just a retread of the first movie. But they did that with the last one, and they did that with the one before that. So in less than 10 years, in 8 years' time, they remade Ghostbusters 1. It's like, that's not how you make a franchise. You have to like expand on it, and you can't just keep relying on. I mean, they go back to the fucking New York Public Library. I mean, it's just like, why? And then there's like bits in there that they ripped out of the original script of Ghostbusters 2 that they left on the cutting room floor. So there's not a lot of original stuff in there. Yeah, it's terrible.
We've been watching a TV show called Slow Horses, which is British, and it's got Gary Oldman in it. It's fantastic, and Gary Oldman plays this disgusting, slovenly, like British Secret Service dude, and the whole show is sort of a kind of a spy, action drama thing. And there's 4 seasons already. I mean, there's only like, I don't know, 8 episodes per season. It's sort of like that sort of thing. But I'm loving it, and it's new, and you're finding new characters, and Gary Oldman is Gary Oldman, so he's brilliant. It's so well written, and it's just like, yeah, this is what it should be. It shouldn't be, everything is a remake.
Yeah.
Crenshaw says he has that saved after Ted Lasso, and Ted Lasso is another great one. That was a really good show.
Oh, there's a show you might want to check out. I've been watching, like, Netflix has been putting out these docudramas, and they're actually pretty good. They did one for Rome, they did one for Alexander the Great, although that one was kind of gay. They did one for Egypt, and like Cleopatra, and I think they did one for Vikings. I can't remember.
Yeah, I watched. I think I watched all of the Rome one. I think I didn't watch the Alexander one.
The Rome one was great. Yeah,
the Rome one was good. And again, with the Netflix, you never know how accurate it is. And
I know. But what's cool about it for the audience, the chat who might not know, what they do is they reenact it, and then they have interviews spliced into it, and they're kind of explaining what's happening. It's actually a really it's great to be educational, but it's also like really entertaining because you don't have a whole lot of downtime. They just cut to like the fun bits, and and it's all acted pretty decently. And so they just put one out for Wyatt Earp. So I was meant to tell you about that. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Oh, that's cool.
And Ed Harris does the voiceover for it. So yeah, it's interesting because it's like I've seen Tombstone play like half a dozen times, and you're like, oh, that's fake, or that guy was a composite of these other characters, because like I don't really know the Tombstone.
Did you see? Yeah, me either. Did you see the Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp?
Yeah, that one's way more accurate than Tombstone, actually.
Yeah, that one is really long as well.
Yeah, that's one of his epics.
Less Hollywood.
Yeah. Speaking of Costner epics, I did see Horizon Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Very weird. It's kind of like it's either the greatest Western ever made or the worst. I can't really figure it out, but it's it's something. I would say if anyone wanted to watch it, just at one point at the end of the movie, there's like this montage that starts, and then it pulls it Back to the Future 2 and just shows the rest of what the next movie is going to be. Just nope out after the montage starts because it's literally going to give everything away for the next movie.
Crenshaw says no, worst. It's the worst.
Worst. Okay. it's something.
And that's the one he gambled everything on. I remember that.
Yeah.
He invested in everything himself.
I enjoyed it, but I can totally see. That's why I'm like, I don't know. It's very weird. The blocking is weird. It's like, it's a weird thing to criticize in a movie, but it kind of came off like one of those movies where they did the scene like 48 times. And then they just like cobbled together the best bits of it because there's a lot of like 2 people talking and then the camera shifts and one person's a foot the other way and they're holding a gun. They're not holding a gun. And so I think that's, not the greatest directing.
Yeah, I'll still check it out because I'm a big Costner fan. But it's one of those things. It's very long, isn't it? I'm going to have to,
I think I watched it in 2 sittings.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours. Yeah, I watched it like 2 hours.
Well, there you go. Yeah. It's like, and no, you really have that much time to.
Which is weird too, because it's like, all right, so you have a 4-hour movie. Why not just make 4 1-hour episodes and put it on Netflix? Which I guess is what they're doing, because I don't think he made the second movie, which premiered at, I don't know if it was Cannes or Venice or something, like a month ago, and then, um, and then I think Netflix was like, look, we'll make the fourth and fifth for you, but it has to be a show. But I think all of that's still like preliminary.
Mark, the Slow Horses. I know I'm watching on Apple TV, so I know if it's on BBC. I just don't know. Everything's always different here. I have to get all kinds of shows on different things. We have our own Australian streaming services. It's all weird. But yeah, definitely check out Slow Horses. It's top tier. Used to watch YouTube channels covering battles like that. I tell you, if you're a history buff, YouTube is where you get your history now. And I'm not talking just from random kind of, teachers who are just making videos. I'm like, there's actual proper like history channels now that have, many, many millions of subscribers, and they've got actual production values. They even do archaeology and stuff. I watch them. Freaking great. Did you guys see Godless? No. He says that hit Netflix some years ago. It's damn good for a Western F. Yeah. All right. Godless. I haven't heard of that one. It was shot digitally, which removed any epic scope. That's the Kevin Costner one, I guess Crenshaw's talking about.
I also have been watching a show called The Terror. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's with Jared Harris and that character actor who played Caesar on Rome. I can never remember his name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know the guy.
Yeah, everyone knows the guy, but I don't know his name.
He's one of many actors that we know as soon as we see him, but we just don't know. Alfred Molina was like that for me for ages. I was like, oh, I love this guy.
Oh, that guy.
And then finally he elevated and became an actual actor that I knew. I was like, you made it, buddy.
Good for you. Yeah, so they play captains in like the 1860s or something, and they're on a boat, on like like one of these big pirate ships, imperial ships, and they're like looking for passage through somewhere in Canada, and they freeze. They stop, and there's like a fucking Yeti or something, and it just starts picking them off one by one. It was pretty good. It's a little hard to follow at first because it's like my wife was like noped out pretty early. She's like, "This is a guy's show." I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right." So,
got Ollie in the house. What's up, Ollie? I saw your work yesterday on Inca. I think it's Inca. Yeah, that's for Americans. That's like Inca, not like the South American Inca tribe or whatever it is. They pronounce the same down under. So. A Netflix CEO just donated $7 million to the Kamala campaign. Oof, that's $7 million down the drain. The numbers, dismal, really, really bad at the moment, especially after that last debate. So
I love you see her. She's like walking around North Carolina, like with like some presidential badge on her, like she's surveying, the damage.
I've seen her doing a speech, but I haven't seen
it's just like this is just a fucking photo op, There's nothing about it that feels authentic in any way. It's like if we put her in enough positions of, these photo ops where she looks presidential, then people are gonna buy that she's, somehow, has the authority or something. It's like she has no authority. She's not doing anything.
Plus, she isn't the president. I mean,
no, he's on the beach.
Last I checked, there is still a president, isn't there? Somewhat.
Well, I mean, I don't think we've had a president for 3 years, but yeah, I mean,
yeah. So that's weird. And then on top of it, I remember when there was a disaster in Hawaii, and
Oh, the Maui
nothing.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now there's this, and nothing happens. It's like, meanwhile, you guys are sending untold millions of dollars, billions even, all around the world to help out other countries.
I know. We're cool like that. We're really nice. We don't. You guys can just take it.
It's astounding to me that anyone is even considering giving these guys another chance. But, that's
Well, you know what it
what a line.
is, because I still have lefty friends, people who still live up in. I'm from Connecticut, so like most of those people, if they are Republican, they're closeted because it's Connecticut. So in the country clubs, it's okay, but right outside
In the country clubs I used to visit, yes.
Yeah. But it's not so much that they're voting for Kamala, it's that they're not voting for Trump. This is the sort of leftist ideology. So, because I've asked them straight up, I'm like, you want to vote for Kamala or do you want to vote against Trump? And it's always, well, I have to do one for the other. And it's like, well, that's bullshit. Like, why don't you just come up with someone better? And then God forbid you say, no one elected her. It's like, then you get all of the fucking red herring arguments of, well, technically Trump forced his way into the. I'm like, oh my God, shut up.
I guess that's a good thing about not living in the States is if I just get sick of this, all I have to do is turn off YouTube.
Yeah.
No one is talking about it here anywhere.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people see what's probably going to happen and they just don't want to face it. And, they're just, it's kind of probably just over it. So I can just turn it off whenever I want. I mean, sucks for you guys, living in it, but
I also suspect now there's a huge contingent of people who are vocally for Harris, but they actually genuinely don't want her to win. I think they just think they have to publicly put themselves out there and be like, oh, like, yeah, Harris, she's something. But secretly they don't want anything like that. So,
well, in the middle of all this, you got all the Diddy stuff, and so many the big elites are completely implicated in all that.
I think that's a fucking gay op, though. I think
really
they're like, oh yeah, I think it's like we're gonna put the Diddy stuff out now because it's huge in the black communities, and that's gonna have those communities not talking about Kamala or how terrible a candidate she is.
Oh yeah, I could totally see that.
Because the Diddy stuff is not new. Like, I mean, it's like the Michael Jackson thing. When that documentary came out, it's like, yeah, but we all knew for 20 years that he was fucking diddling kids. So, people had heard rumors for a while about Diddy. I can't remember his name, but the guy who hung out with him, who came in and said like, oh, he was fucking banging dudes on the other side of the door. I heard him say that shit over 2 years ago. So yeah, it's not. I totally think it's just all fucking gay ops. And you're right. If they put out,
is happy to see you, Camel.
Oh, what's up, Sumo? Yeah, I mean, if they keep putting this stuff out, and then there's a list of implied other celebrities that are connected to this thing. Yeah, that's going to be a huge scandal. That'll be huge, as Trump would say.
Huge. Now you got friggin' dock workers. It's all happening. What the hell is going on over there in that country?
May you live in interesting times. 2024 is going to go down, man. It's going to be like 1968. There's just like fucking shit one day after another. We don't even need good movies anymore. I got Twitter. I'm just like, what's happening? All right. Oh, that's crazy.
Ellie says the 82nd Airborne is stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, one of the most prestigious military units. They can be anywhere in the world in 24 hours. Are they being deployed to help the stranded? Nope. Amazing.
Hey, have you ever come across this? You got to draw the shadow under someone's nose, and every single time they look like Hitler.
Rod is a shadow under the nose or to the side of the nose guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes and it has to be the whole page has to be sort of like that.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Because like I'm doing this picture. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go on.
Well, I'm doing this tunnel vision. You know, one of my X thems, and I'm just putting the little thing there, and it's just like, and now he's Hitler. Right. All right.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys who just sort of does the outline of the face, and you know, I really respect the artists who can do all the planes and you know the proper ink blocking and everything of all the stuff. It's like that ain't me. I'm sure I could learn it if I cared to, but I don't know.
Sumo says, "You see what you want to see, Camel." Yeah, it's a real problem. I'm not putting cartwheel and plus signs and being like, you notice all these swastikas.
Yeah, Simply Green says, yeah, in real life is a better show than what's being made. Certainly more drama. That's for sure. But all these people are kind of, you know, it's all kicking off in terms of people are going nuts about this show and that show and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, everyone's fighting and everything over it. It's like, oh my, really could not
What
care
show
less.
You mean?
Well, like whatever it is, like the Star Wars one, Acolyte.
Oh, yeah, like Acolyte
like
bullshit.
Agatha, like,
yeah.
And, you know, I was talking about a little bit of this stuff if it interested me on the shorts last year, but I was like, my God, I couldn't even bring myself to even read an article anymore about any of this stuff.
Well, I'm kind of amazed at like the amount of people who continue to hate watch stuff, because I'm like,
yeah,
you know, at some point, like you're just wasting your life, right? Like, you know that, right? Like, just don't do it, I guess. Like, there's I guess, many other things I'd rather do.
Yeah. You build up yourself to be kind of like a critique sort of reviewer or something. I guess now that's sort of what you do, but I'm glad, you know, I didn't sort of go down that path, as lucrative as it can be. You know, I notice, you know, some people doing really well with it, but it's no.
Well, isn't that like what your boy Zach is kind of going on a tear about lately?
Yeah, a little bit.
See, I know it's, you know,
I haven't been paying too much attention.
Camel Moon is an unpopular opinion, but I kind of agree with him. Like, I think his rhetoric might be what is pissing people off, but I am just kind of like, yeah, I mean, what are you doing? Like, if you're a fucking birthday client, if all you're doing is you arguing about how much things suck all the time, Jesus Christ, bro, like you gotta go get a fucking life. But then I guess
birthday clown. I just sort of started hearing that around everywhere, because I haven't really watched your boy Zach in a long time. I'm guessing it means, you know, because birthday clowns are only funny to kids, essentially. And that's the way I'm interpreting. Like, oh, if you laughing at a birthday clown, that's because you're like, what do they call it? Not like you're. Oh, there's a word for, you know, when you just you haven't really developed. You're still a child.
Oh, you're like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Maladjusted,
whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, I see that. Right? Crenshaw says retarded. I think a lot of people. So I saw a tweet or a community note where he was saying, "What's up with all these 40-year-old men going after young women?" And I was like, that's sort of be Arrested Development. Thank you, How Comics. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's better. Yeah.
That was sort of his thing for many, many years. Going after Heather Antos and
right.
Various...
Well, I think that's where, and that's where I kind of disconnect from it, because I'm just like, yeah, I agree with you, but bro, you've kind of been doing that for like 5 years. So, it's a little,
yeah. Like Norm Macdonald said with one of his best jokes ever, where he called someone out for saying, the worst part of it all is the hypocrisy. And he says, really? I would have thought the worst part of it is the rape.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that was with Seinfeld, right?
I can't remember. Yeah, I think so.
I think it was like a Coffees and Cars episode. Yeah.
And even if it might make you come off as a hypocrite, if you have changed your mind and sort of seen, okay, this isn't like the best use of my time, then that, there's worse things you can be than a hypocrite. Because anyone who talks online for a prolonged period of time is eventually going to contradict themselves. That's just a thing. I hope the Lucent brings back capes into fashion. Yes. So do I. That was it. That's another Seinfeld joke.
Oh, yeah.
Someone tried to bring back capes. I can't remember. I think, was it?
Well, it was Frank Costanza's lawyer.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, who wears a cape? And George is like so dismayed by it. He's like, my father was wearing a cape? He goes, no, his lawyer was with a cape. He's like, why was he with the man with a cape? I don't know.
Why would my father be with a man?
Yeah. That's good shit.
Like, there you go, Seinfeld. And I think they just ended The Simpsons too, I think. I mean, put it out of its misery. But, back in the day, Simpsons, like, there's nothing even in the same universe, not even in the same anything as any of those shows now being made that has that kind of...
They killed off The Simpsons? It's finally done?
I think they just ended it. Yeah, and it just was really sudden and bizarre. I haven't looked into it, but that's what I...
Chat, do you know? Can you tell us, chat? I don't know. I feel like I would hear about that,
Well, it was very sort of... I think that was the thing. People were like, oh, that they just like announced it on an episode.
What was it? Fox News was talking about how Marvel and DC no longer have the rights to the term superhero.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so Fox News is carrying that. I mean, that's not really news. Like, it's not really news. Then I would imagine I would have heard something about The Simpsons, but...
Well, Ellie says, yeah, I saw the last Simpsons scene, and I'm like, that. He says, yeah, they ended it suddenly, says Pixel Trader.
Wow, that's so bizarre. Like, to have nothing to go out on? Like, no, this is the last season or nothing?
I didn't think anyone was watching.
You still would do an ad campaign and be like, this is it, guys.
It should have ended 15 years ago. Then it might have had some cultural relevance.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Jake's got to be out of here. Says, happy streaming, Bogans. Thank you very much, Jake. Thank you for everything, and thank you for being here.
I was looking at Jake's art. I think he's one of the better artists that I've seen.
Oh, that's Jake Martin. You're talking about Hyper Wizard.
Oh, yeah. No, Jake Martin. I don't know what he draws, but I think it's the best I've seen.
I think it's the best. Yeah, I don't know who he is, but he's one of the best. He's one of the best out there doing it. Best in the business.
No, I like Jake's art. I think I think it's very polished, and he has his style down, and he's not
Mm-hmm.
trying to ape anything. He's not trying to do something he can't do, and the colors complement. He has really good composition. Yeah, all the things that you would want from a decent comic book. Um, I can praise of Hyper Wizard.
He's he's really like working on it, you know. He doesn't just do something and then goes, yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah,
That'll do, whatever.
which I feel like I've seen a lot, like
Yeah.
in the scene a little bit, where I'm just like, okay, all right, that's what you want to do.
Something isn't working, and he really actually does want good sort of feedback.
Yeah,
We'll post something and say, hey, let me know what you think about this. That's what I told him. I said, watch out on some of your details because these aren't going to print. I mean, they look cool
yeah.
on a cool internet post, but once you go to print with that, that's all just going to disappear.
Yeah.
And he sort of reworked a couple of things. I think he's doing a draw stream tonight for the creative block because I think Narwhal is out.
Oh yeah, so maybe I'll go on that. I'll just invite myself on. They're doing like reimagining of characters. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. Like I don't think I've ever done that, but I would try that.
Mike Miller is finding success on his channel doing redraws.
What's a redraw?
Which is it's
like old work?
No, sort of like, I don't know. Well, especially now you got these, say you'll get they'll put out a new game of some beloved franchise and then they'll just completely kind of ruin the character because they'll do something to it.
Oh, okay.
He'll like, all right, I'm gonna go in here and fix this. Like Absolute Batman would be a perfect one. They're like, okay, I'm gonna make Absolute Batman look cool according to me, that sort of stuff. I think I haven't watched any.
I think that people hating on that bat was a fucking marketing ploy.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, it was like, how can we get this thing talked up way through the roof?
Something that'll get the people fired up.
Yeah.
Let's just make a perfectly blocky bat symbol.
Yeah. And then it's like you had people like even Graham came out and was like, I'll do my version, but I'll fix the bat. And it's like you just it's like, so you got Graham to draw your picture for you. Okay.
Well. Yeah. 100%. I mean, I've never seen so much Batman artwork, good Batman artwork, than I have.
I was actually pretty pissed at you for putting up your crap bat, and it got more likes than my actual absolute bat. So thank you for that.
Mel came in to the cottage, and I'm warp tooling this picture of a bat. She's like, what are you doing? I said, nothing. I'm making I haven't made a meme in a while, so
Yeah, I think mine took me like 40 hours or something. Drawing every fucking
I spent a good
on that
3 minutes on mine.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not about how long you spend on it. It's about how much outrage you can.
Yeah.
Outrage or laughs. That's the key.
That's my future. I'm just gonna be a meme artist now. I'm gonna stop doing comics. Just like I'm gonna do it for the likes.
I wonder, some of these people have gigantic Twitter followers from making memes. I wonder, if it's gonna help do anything, be anything. I don't know. I do think Twitter is probably one of the better places you can build an audience.
Yeah.
In terms of, it is still really difficult to build an actual Twitter Twitter
I think
following?
it still comes down to like intent. Like I don't think, I don't know. What's the shadow? Student of God is gonna be like, and now my comic book launch. Like I don't think that's what he's. I mean, maybe if that was the case, that'd be like the ultimate fucking, backdoor con job. That'd be hilarious. But
Well, I do know like a bunch of people are like actual for a very long time have had serious intentions to make a comic, but for whatever reason. I mean, I think probably the biggest one is Sierra Whiskey, who has actually made a comic. He made the no cover one, but that wasn't that was just sort of like his little side project. But he has 10,000 followers on Twitter just from, I guess, being good at Twitter.
yeah, but that cover was really aping, sort of like the temperature of CG at the moment. Like he couldn't do that now, and it wasn't necessarily his audience. Really, it wasn't like the Sierra Whiskey audience that was buying that.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. What's the like? I would just be interested to know, what kind of, because your average kind of Twitter follower who likes the fun, how much are they going to be interested if you say, oh, and by the way, because you see it when someone goes viral, they're like, oh, by the way, check out, my Ko-fi or whatever it is. I don't know, whatever that is.
It would have been interesting.
That helps.
Yeah, I would have been interested to see like what Sierra Whiskey did if it was a project that was maybe.
Well, he's got one, but he hasn't. I don't know where it is. Like it's one of those books that has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Like some of them go back 5 or 6 years. Like Woodrow was in the chat earlier. He's had a book that he's been working on for 5 years, and I guess when you're just sort of doing it on the side. You're just kind of making it when you can. Obviously, we know Bandito had his book forever.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that, like, I do remember back in the old days, like, it felt like everyone was either working on a book or had plans for a book.
Yeah.
Everyone. It was like, remember Rotten Glory? That guy, it was. I was like, I remember him telling me about like his machinations for doing things, and I was just like, oh, okay. And now I don't really hear about it at all, really.
Perth Comics says, yeah, Rob's doing a comic on the side. Exactly. And Rob was on here yesterday. Yeah, no, it's interesting because you've got guys with just extraordinary talent too, who just for whatever reason cannot seem to put that to work. Get it?
What do you mean?
Like they're actually really talented artists or whatever, but well, I mean, putting out a comic is a lot more than just being able to draw. There's putting it all together. There's the writing. I mean, that's a huge thing. There's the marketing of it. It's just a huge undertaking, and I think most people just don't really grasp how big it is and what it actually takes.
I think because the barrier to entry is so minimal in costs that a lot of people think that they can sort of take it on. Whether that's like, oh, all I need to do is draw it, or all I need to do is hire an artist and I can do everything else. And it's like, yeah, I know it looks like that. And yeah, if you're, you know, fucking brilliant, maybe, it might be actually, you know, sort of an undertaking that isn't, you know, this monumental task, but it takes a lot of fucking time. And I think a lot of people don't realize that till they get into it. And, you know, that's problematic for backers, especially if they're backing someone who's like, you know, they've gotten $20,000 for a book, and then it's like, oh, I didn't realize that I had to, you know, whatever else I have to do for this book, I have to do myself or whatever.
Moromi says it's a lack of passion. Talent is useless without it. I'm not sure, Moromi. I think it's more of a lack of knowledge and understanding. This even goes for people who have been in the industry and worked professionally, but you know they might have worked, you know, for a company, and then you know the company was doing untold thousands of little things behind the scenes to you know get the book out. That now that's all on you, all of it, and you know you find yourself on these books, you find yourself doing things that like you think, oh yeah, no, I've got to do that. Oh, you know, whatever it is, so whatever task it is, and then you realize, oh, that took up 3/4 of my day.
Well, I think like, and you've experienced this, but there are people who don't even know what pre-press is or that it's a thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh shit, I gotta crush these blacks. I gotta, you know, I gotta
curb stomp them.
Curb stomp the blacks.
Yeah, I mean that has
not what I'm talking about.
Literally happened where I've had, you know, some people kind of come to me because their printer has sent the file back to them. They're like, we can't print this. And so they're like, oh, well, what do I do? You got to get it so it's print ready. And then, you know, they send it back to their colorist or their whoever, and they don't know how to fix it either because it's a it's a specific set of skills learned over many years. And yeah, that all needs to be done. And that's one thing. And that's not a cost that they didn't factor in because they didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah. Or like you know, there's stuff about lettering that you just don't know until you know it. You know, I letter my own books, but then I had Joe do my editing, and he was like, you know, you can't cross tails. I was like, I can't? He goes, no, you don't do that. And it's like, you know, once someone says it out loud, you're like, oh yeah, you're right. I guess I can't do that. Most people know about like the capitals and like capital I and such like that, but a lot of people don't. And so that's another thing. And you know, it's just like some things are just sort of out of fashion. Like, although I still do it because I don't really care, but like you don't really do thought balloons anymore. That's not really like a thing. Instead, you would just do like, you know, like a prose box over their head or something. So, but yeah, if you don't know that stuff, then you got to think about it.
Is this Joe Fulton?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good with all, like he keeps, you know, on top of all that stuff. And yeah, he's really good with sort of the kind of comic book visual lingo and all that sort of stuff that, yeah, I didn't really know either until he pointed out a lot of that to me as well.
And he was good too. I had like a 2-page spread where I had Ethos and King Zach like fighting all these trolls, and the dialogue was just trite. it was just terrible. I didn't know. I just had to fill it up, and I was just like, and they shot and they kept shooting and they shot all day. And he's like, why are you writing any of this? Put either nothing or put something that means something. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. And so I ended up having a whole backstory for like, and it was actually quite good because I ended up having a backstory for like the type of trolls and like what they did in the world and how they were created and such, which added more lore later on when they had to fight them. But yeah, before that it was just worthless. It was explaining the scene, and that's like the worst thing you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't tell me what you're doing in the very same panel I'm looking at. I get it. Like that's some of the worst comic book writing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would. That I'd done the Lucent Waking Dream. Obviously, I had it on Webtoons, and it had maybe like the first small part of Painted Death up as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't really 2 books, and it wasn't. So, but I had Waking Dream. I was sort of thought I was done with it, and he said, if you ever want me to take a look at it, this is my sort of background, and yeah, he was like, yeah, you need an editor.
He said as nicely as possible, I'm sure.
Yeah. And now that I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, like what was I thinking? Especially if you like have a bit of success on your campaign. That's what happened with Ripper. If Ripper hadn't made all that money, no one would have cared. It would have just been one of 1,000, books that is not like top tier professional, and that's how it is. But once you start getting a bit of interest in your work, people rightfully so expect quality.
Yeah.
And God, when I think about how close I got to just essentially just ending my career before it even started by unedited thing. But, thankfully, it didn't happen. How's your father? Says, God damn, I'm hungry for some ethos right now. Well, I've got a box of it right here.
A box of ethos.
Yeah. It tastes fine.
What are the nutrition values? I'd be interested if you want to read those off there.
And it comes now with 200% more drama.
Oh, I was ahead of the curve. That's
with lettuce flakes and tomato marshmallows.
Huh.
And I like got this. Hang on, I'm going to full screen on this. Narwhal says it's part of a breakfast.
I don't know what part of a breakfast,
Imagine cake and salad together. I love this inside joke, by the way. Screwed again.
I was like, that's only for one person, but it's worth it.
This is literally a joke between Camel and I.
And that's it.
And whoever else watched that bloody movie. It's around here somewhere. It's literally it.
Yeah, but the nutrition on that is hilarious.
All right, let's have a look. Total fat 900 grams, 900% of your daily value. Saturated fat 800 grams. 6,000% sodium. That's probably too much.
Yeah, probably.
The daily value tells you how much a nutrient in a serving food contributes to the daily diet. Protein 0. Includes 5,200% added sugars. Yeah, so probably don't have it every day.
I think one bite and you have diabetes.
Yeah. Instant diabetes.
It's instant diabetes. It, like they say, like may cause whatever. This is will cause diabetes.
Otterboy says, Bancroft, the arms jacket needs a few. Yeah, I'm trying to currently figure out what I want to do because he's basically just walked out of the goop. So I'm like, essentially he's gonna have this red goop that's going to be painted in when I do the colors on the bottom, but it's going to be on his arm a little bit too. So I don't know. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be down there. So I will add in some more folds. I'm just trying to figure out the goop at the moment. It's gloopy. Maromi says, never bought into the Rippaverse. His body language and marketing was hard to tell on quality. I just don't back things unless I sort of, especially now, I just don't back things unless I know it's going to be good. I don't know, is that like it? It, you know, maybe sometimes like, okay, I'll get something if I have backed from that person before and it was good, even though it might be a new thing. So like Narwhal would be like that, or Nandor is another guy who's really good. Well, you know, a bunch of people. But even if something looks really good, I don't know. I want to, or they might just have industry experience that, you know. They can kind of lean on.
I just backed no one. I didn't even back your second campaign.
You didn't back. Like, I'll see Bancroft at some point in the future.
No, that's 100%. Because like at the time that you were launching, like we were planning on going to Vegas this year, and I was like, I'll be done with it. I'll just buy it there. And then it didn't happen. And then I was like, well, I'll buy it and you can give it to me at Vegas so I can, you know, save on shipping. And then I was like, well, that's kind of cheap of me. Like I shouldn't do that. And then I was like, and then before I knew it, it was just, you know, you were closing the campaign down. And I was like, all right, I'll wait for the second print because let's see what my options are here. Let's see if he changes the cover. I'm a sucker for second covers.
You gotta wait until the next one when I add in some interviews. You see, that's what you're really.
Yeah, that's what it is. I want the all interview edition.
Crenshaw has it. I got to determine the moistness before the wrinkliness. Exactly. Yeah. Gotta figure this out. It's gonna be very.
The one that you just put out, is it The Empire Strikes Back? Does it leave in a cliffhanger, or is it kind of like wrap things up a little?
It is a little Empire Strikes Back,
yeah,
but I don't think it's a cliffhanger. It's a natural part of the story. So essentially, in Painted Death, you've got the two of them, Ella and Damon, are kind of being chased, sort of, by two different groups. You know, who's going to get them? The good guys or the bad guys? And they managed to get away from both of them at the end of the book. So it's sort of like it's a natural moment, where, you know, it all leads up to the climax and then the sort of release. So you won't be able to know at all from reading Painted Death what is going to happen in the next book. It's not like we're going to see what happens after that. It's like it's kind of like, well, I always say it's the end of the first act, so you get that kind of fade to black, or, you know, sort of feeling.
Go get your popcorn, go to the bathroom.
And as well, it's, you know, I'm working on the third book at the moment, because I'm trying to compress it a little bit so I don't have to do so many pages. And I noticed, like, oh wow, this is the first time in a long time in this story that, you know, there's been a kind of room to breathe in the story, because all of Painted Death is sort of like, you know, pretty intense. It's like, you know, there's things coming all the time. Look, I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Just pick it up when you pick it up. It's not an issue.
It's the end of the friendship. That was it. It was the straw that broke the bogan's back.
Ellie says, as much as I've made fun of Horseman, lol, it doesn't look bad, but I don't need it. Well, Horseman to me, and this is, I never thought I would say this, is actually the best looking thing that I've seen from the Ripperverse, and I wouldn't
Yeah,
have
it looks
expected that at all. As well as most people like Horseman, that sounds kind of goofy. But then if you think about it, I mean, Spider-Man and Batman probably sounded goofy as well back in the day. But I mean, for me, I was like, oh, wow. I went onto the website. This has all been redesigned. I was super impressed with the whole website. It's like, damn, that's sort of like taking it up a notch.
yeah, I
So,
think it'll actually be the first Ripper book I get. I think I'm gonna get that pink cover, like the special one. It's like a foil, maybe, I think.
yeah, that's the best cover.
Yeah.
I really like those colors as well. Yeah, he's doing what I think people wanted him to do, which is, you got all this money coming in to really go after some top tier talent and get them on the books. And that seems to be. We'll see how it goes. Again, I want to hear back some reviews. Let's hear about it. So, Bob,
I've seen the interiors. I thought the interiors looked quite good.
Yeah, no, I think the interiors have looked pretty decent on a couple of them.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But I kind of hear you because, I don't know, especially if I want to get that foil one, that's like $50. That's a lot to be like, hey, I'm just going to try it issue number 1. It's like you're kind of like taking a risk. It's like an investment. It's like, I don't know if I want to invest in this. It's like, I kind of just want to see if I like it. Like, I wish he had like 10 pages up with writing, and then I could be like, all right,
yeah,
I'm down.
Yeah,
or
that's
I'm not.
sort of been a kind of a thing he's really sort of hasn't done.
Yeah.
That kind of. I think there's a few pages, but I don't know if it's many. But he's always kind of been like that, where like, he'll put up a book and not. But then I see other people do that as well. So what do I know? I had like 10 pages all in all by the end of it for Paint to Death on display with lettering and everything, so you can get a sense of the way it reads. And
I remember a couple of years ago, Pete Sametti said something like he wouldn't even look at a submission unless it had 10 pages with inks or colors, or maybe it wasn't a submission, maybe it was a backing or something like that. So it's a way to go, I guess.
Simply Green says, hard to say. He might be able to turn this motion into something. The company looks pretty unsteady to me. I mean, I don't know. That's all speculation. Everyone has an opinion. I think the only person who knows is probably Eric July, or whoever works in his company. But we'll see. I mean, if I had a lot of money to invest, the last thing I would invest in is a comic book company. But I don't know. Whoa, that's way off. My goodness.
Shit.
Jeff says, from what I've seen, it's the complete opposite. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't really pay that close attention, so. But I do agree, Horseman is probably the most impressive one so far. All right. I think I'm just going to go from the ground up. That's probably the way to do it.
What are these for?
So I'm doing trading cards. I'm going to do, I'll show you, actually.
It's interesting to me that you start rendering before you finish off the figure.
I just go at it
Yeah,
and hope for the best.
yeah. I mean, it's something.
It's a way to do
Yeah,
something.
it's I don't know if it's my way, but it's something.
Yeah, so they're going to be, it's 9 cards for the bulk of them, and they're going to be in triptychs like your one.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be 3 rows, and they're sort of related to each other, kind of, the characters and stuff. And so it's just like 9 characters from the book, essentially. And then there's actually going to be 2 more cards, but they'll be rare cards. So everyone will get these 9 cards. And but then there'll be 1 card, an extra card that 1 in 3 packs are going to get. They're all completely randomly. And there's going to be another card that'll be 1 in 10 will get completely random. And I just want to start doing a trading card series, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do after this series, because there's, there isn't like this massive cast in the Lucent, but I'll think of something. And see, I'll color these up, and I'm going to put little mini comic on the back. And yeah, I'm just going to throw them up. They'll be pretty cheap to get, and I'm investigating how cheap I can get the shipping, because obviously, no one's going to buy a trading card set if it's like $10 shipping or something.
I was thinking of doing a trading card, and it would just be like every time I put them out, it would be 9, and so you would get like a full sleeve.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know what I would charge for it, depending on if they're like foil or something, maybe $15-20 or, or $10.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of $9.95, and they're not going to be foil, but they will be very thick, and they'll have a cello gloss glaze over them. So
I might do an option of both, like $10 for like a basic set and 20 for a premium set. In fact, what I could do is I could do 8. And the 9th is a day 1 with purchase. So if you want all of them, you gotta with purchase on day 1.
Well, I just think for me, it's a cool way that I can give a bit more away without having to put out another book. And it is something I've always wanted to do, and I kind of didn't really get the trading card thing for a while, which is weird because I was really into them when I was a kid. I mean, I loved them when I was a kid, and I just sort of forgot about them, and I didn't really, I know a bunch of people do them, but you got to kind of do them right. It's got to be like a collectible series, and up until now, I've just sort of chucked in a random whatever. It didn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
But if it's a numbered series, and it's part of a thing, and I like the idea of having rare cards, that's what my son collects football cards now, and that sort of stuff. And obviously, there's tons of that with whatever, anime and manga and game stuff. Again, trading cards, they won't be trading. I know. Well, that's what they're called.
And another good tactic would be is you offer 8 for like $10, and then the 9th one you offer for $400. And
that's very camel. I was wondering where you would.
And if you really want to complete the set, it will show your loyalty to the campaign, and I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Well, it will be interesting because there will be, these random rare cards, and I'm going to run it like a campaign. I mean, I'm going to have everything done and finished before I start the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to run like a 60-day, I guess, pre-sale period that'll be run a bit like a campaign, and that will determine how many of the how many of the special cards I print, because that'll be, it'll be 1 in 10. So how many, whatever the print job is, will determine exactly kind of, what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it goes. They're going to be affordable. It'll be like $9.95 with a couple of bucks shipping or something like that. But I've got to figure that out before I actually go ahead with it. Funny Pros used to do 22 a month, I guess, pages. Out of Roy says, to me, an entire comic could be thumbnailed or laid out in a month while doing triple or quadruple duty as an ex-mainstream pro, improving the pages as you go. I think a lot of it comes down to time management and project management, and that's sort of where a lot of people, drop the ball. And as well, I mean, like we were saying earlier, you're doing things that you never had to do before if you came from the mainstream. I mean, for me, this is just what comic book making is. This is how it always has been, because that's all I know. If I was just, say, doing line art, yeah, that would be a whole different ball game. But as well, I think the expectation is kind of different in what we're doing, whether it's what do we want to call it, pre-sales, crowdfunding, or whatever it is, whatever else you're doing.
I don't know. I mean, I think the expectation is, whether it's a pre-sale or a crowdfund, is I want my product.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's standard across the board. But I'm more thinking like, someone was asking the other day if I want to do a floppy comic or have a like a perfect bound, square bound, bigger premium book. That's a sort of a different thing in how you make it and how you sell it, and
Yeah, I was thinking about, because we had talked about this off screen, about like, you had asked me straight up what I thought about Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Amazon is only a good option if you have like a daily YouTube show you put out. Like if Adam Post, is that his name?
Yeah.
He puts out like 3 videos a day. If at the end of every video he's like, oh, and go check out this video on, or not video, but this thing that I made on Amazon, and there was a link in the description, and he only did it at the end. Don't do it in the middle because people will skip it, or don't do it in the beginning because people will turn your fucking thing off. Maybe you could do it in the middle, as long as it's not too long. But, if people enjoy the content and then you get to the pitch at the end, and especially if they're binging your thing, then they might be like, oh, yeah. Like there was a guy, I don't know his name. He was talking about like, it was like more science-based stuff. And it was just like kind of more human interest stuff. And I watched about 4 or 5 of his videos. And like on every video, he'd be like, oh, this is the book that I wrote. And so I went to his Amazon, and he had a ton of different videos different books that he wrote about. Like, it's not JDA. I'm not blind to JDA. It's some other guy. And I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. So, I put one in my cart. I haven't bought it yet, but it worked in that sense. You know what? I have him right here. I can tell you the name of his channel. Crescendex. Yeah, really good channel. And I was like, yeah, that guy's like, he has some interesting takes on things. So, yeah, and I think it works better for that because the product is always there. It's always on. Like if it's a crowdfund, then the video has to be very prescient to when the crowdfund is campaigning. So if it's not, if it's like, oh well, it's just up and it's made to order, then you might have a better chance at a sale, I would think, because then people are like, oh, I can get it right now. It'll be here in a week. And I would imagine, like, once, like, for in our instance, or at least in yours, Mike, like, you have enough books under your belt, you put them on Amazon and you're doing daily vids, then that might be an interesting avenue.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, when I finally pull my finger out and actually get down to it, I do plan on doing videos that are more related to comic book stuff. So we'll see how they go, and in them, I'll feel a lot more comfortable doing that, because that really is how you find a new people, is through the videos. Whereas with the live streams, you're talking to people who already know about you, and whatever they're doing at that time of the day. Not everyone is going to be around, so.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, if I ever like go full throttle with my channel, it won't be till I have a hefty catalog under my belt, because I don't want to use the channel for crowdfunding necessarily. I'd rather use it for final product that I can get out, when I can, as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's actually the cool thing about, so like on the stream, I think still at the moment, I gotta check. I don't know, at some point, usually a lot of my videos get, like, the streams get demonetized. But at the moment, like, there's products directly underneath the thing that anyone can like buy directly underneath the video.
Yeah.
So it's just like getting new people to see, and that you got to do videos to do that. Usually anyone here in the chat right now has either backed or they're not going to back.
Right.
So they've already made that decision.
I think that's another thing too, because I think especially now in the space, it's a lot of the backers have decided the first 4 days if they're going to back, and then outside of that, I don't know, what the likelihood is. If campaigns end up hitting a certain goal after 60 days, I suspect a great deal of those backers in the subsequent 4, 5, and 6 weeks are double, triple, or quadruple backers. I don't think that they're the people who finally got around to it. I think it's like, the people who want to get it, they're going to get it. They've gotten the emails. They know, like, okay, I got to get it now. I want to be part of, the hype machine when it starts.
Yeah. Yeah, that really is showing itself to be more and more true with as sort of time goes on, where you see so many of these campaigns now. I mean, really all of them. It's like the first 2-3 days is really kind of the bulk of what comes in. And unless you have a means to find new people who hadn't seen the campaign yet, then that's where it's going to be. So that's where a lot of the marketing effort needs to go, is kind of finding a new bunch of people who just haven't heard about it yet.
Yeah.
Jav Sala says, I know long before a campaign launches, it's just when do I back? Got to keep an eye on the credit. Yeah, I hear that. Art of Roy says, a crowdfund should be the impetus to get a move on, not a time to relax. Well, I agree with that. Don't know if they've brought any backers, but my short reviews are at least getting a few hundred new. No, I think that's a great thing. That's a great thing as well. I don't know. I mean, who's to say if they're getting backers, but all that stuff definitely adds up, across the board. Anyone talking about your book is pretty cool. It ain't easy to do. It ain't easy to get anyone to talk about your book. That's for sure.
Well, you found a cheat code. I mean, you're like, I'm going to give you a T-shirt.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what a lot of people do. I mean, for the
Oh no,
company I work for,
yeah, I'm
we
not
do
dogging on it.
we do you know, if you want to review the thing, get a discount or whatever, that sort of stuff,
Mhm.
you know. So
Have you
yeah,
had
that's what we do.
bad reviews as a result, or has everyone been pretty positive?
Oh no, pretty positive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um
but that's because
and
you're paying them, right, for the review.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
like, yeah. No, you either 4 or 5, and it's actually better if you get some 3s and 4s in there, because if
Mhm.
it's all 5, then it looks fake.
Sus.
And yeah,
Yeah.
like you don't want just 5s. You want a lot of 5s, because then you want like anything above 4.5 that's a sweet spot. Because people, you know, if you ever you want to go to a restaurant or whatever and you check it out, it's like if it's 4.5, okay, good. If it's under that, you start to go, and especially if it's under like a lot under that. But if it's 5, you're like, oh, no one's gone here yet. It's just their
Mm.
family and friends, you know, liking
I think it
it.
depends on the audience, though, too. If you're like California Pizza Kitchen has five-star reviews over and over and over, and you're like, it's not that great. Like, it's fine. And the people who go there are like in love with it because that's the kind of food they like. So it's it can be a detriment, but it's something you just got to be aware going in that your taste may differ.
Well, luckily for me, I just got a ton of really good. And I didn't answer it. I said, "Hey, you could just go on there and say I received my book," and that helps as
Oh
well.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you know, a ton of people really left some really nice feedback. You know what they liked and everything, which is not only invaluable, it's just it's really cool. And like I said, that is not easy to get in indie comics. Um, most of the time, a lot of the books like I really liked. I mean, I'm a bit different because I have a show where I kind of base a lot of it around what I'm reading or whatever or promoting. But you get something, and even if you like it, you might not let the person know about it. And
yeah.
people spend a lot of time on these books. They really do appreciate getting some kind of feedback. Where are people leaving starred reviews? On the site. Let me take this moment to shell plug. Where is it? Yeah, so if you go onto any product on the site, whatever you backed, then yeah, you can just click right here, write a review. And that one is my friend, actually. That's my IRL friend, Brad. But he did like it. He really did. He's back to
Really,
me.
he really did.
Yeah, no, you can just leave a review, and there you go. It's like that's a cool thing about having your own site. And you do get a little bit of feedback on Indiegogo or whatever in the comment section, but I mean, it's not really laid out like a proper review. So this one is about the packing materials are top notch. I do try. Thank you, Apex Comics. I'm trying. Wait till they're colored. What?
Oh, there was the packing material. What material was great. It's like
Oh,
it's like, oh yeah, how was your hamburger at McDonald's? Well, I really liked the box it came in. Thanks, I guess. That red and yellow really did it for me.
Yeah, but a comic is more collectible, so
Mm.
people want to know that it's not
Yeah.
coming in an envelope.
Yeah.
A sandpaper envelope, which has happened in the past. It comes bagged and boarded. Thank you, Crenshaw. That would be amazing. Thank you. Michael Deacher says, The crowdfunding hype machine does work. It's just like the old charity telethons on network TV back in the day. Yeah, it does work. It's just more and more people coming in to do crowdfunds, with, I think, more as the years go on, more fans sort of drop away from crowdfunding. So you got to continuously find new people, and that's the hard part, clearly. And I think everyone's going through that. It doesn't matter how big you are. Ellie says the cheat code for human behavior is incentivizing the behavior you want. Yes. Just slap and grade every book before shipping them. I don't know about that. You know, I was talking about this. Chad was it Chad? Yeah, the guy who did the Black Phantom book.
Townsend, right? Something?
Townsend, yeah, Chad Townsend. Yeah. He sent out a tweet saying, you know, he feels like we're really missing something. I mean, it isn't anything new, but he's just sort of like he's realized it. That, you know, so much of the talk surrounding crowdfunded books is about how much did it make? You know, how much did it bring in? Or what are the numbers? Or how many you have more backers this time than you did last time? And it's really like that's the majority of the talk.
Yeah.
Surrounding the books. Whereas if you go on to web comics, it couldn't be further from the truth. It's about the characters and the stories and everything. And it's like it really feels like.
Yeah. The thing is unpopular opinion time, but what a campaign makes is really just for bragging rights. I mean, realistically, what a company makes should only be of interest to shareholders if it's a publicly traded company. Outside of that, you know, like Rockstar. Rockstar is not publicly traded. Nobody really knows what they make every year. They make millions upon millions, but they're not flaunting it. And so if you're constantly in a position of having to flaunt what a campaign does, then it could get mixed up with the priorities of what the campaign should be doing, which is getting the campaign out. You know,
well, and as well, I mean, when as a creator, I would imagine that most people, when they're writing their stories, they want to make some kind of impact on the culture, the you know, the society with their story. You know, you obviously, you know, the big dream would be, you know, I think the most person that have the most impact is someone like J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter, or George Lucas with Star Wars, or, you know, the Kirk Led and God, how am I blanking on his name? The Turtles guys.
Eastman Laird.
Eastman. I was thinking Kirkman. No, that's another one. You know, and I'm not saying you need to be there, but like some kind of impact.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like you're not going to get there just by talking about, oh yeah, I got, you know, 1,000 backers or 5. Like that's not really the thing. I was like, people, you want them talking about what's actually happening, but it's a real difficult thing to build, as everyone is finding out. And Chad just noticed, like, wow, you know, there's these stories in web comics, whatever it is, wherever they're held, where you've got thousands, sometimes millions of people just going crazy for these stories. And I mean, that's something that I think a lot of us are really kind of missing out on. I did have that. I'm like, it's weird. I actually had that, not to that level, but I had like thousands of people reading and hundreds of people commenting monthly. But the only problem is, at the time, there was no way to monetize it. So it was like, it's difficult to justify to my wife and family, the amount of effort and time I was putting into it.
Yeah.
And that was before I was doing any editing either. So like, there's that cost as well. Like, how would I justify that? So yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying like that's a solution. Like everyone should just go to Webtoons, but it's yeah, it could be that. Seize the Zeitgeist. I think it's a blend. I noticed, Rini and a lot of others are going to comics.
Webtoons. Oh no, I know the other one. Yeah, I can't remember the other one.
I'm gonna go on it as well. I just need to get around to doing it. Yeah. Isn't most webcomics porn and just easily a lot of it is geared to horny girls, who want to, read sort of barely. Yeah. No, you're right. But there is some good global comics. Thank you, Mary. There is some good stories on there that have big turned into animes or have gotten big publisher deals. I think we're talking about Odie, who got a publishing deal from his webcomic.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah.
I hate to cut it short, but I just got rung for dinner, so I gotta get.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna end up too. So, all right, you head off, and I'll.
All right, guys, take it easy, chat. Have fun.
Yeah,
night. Bye.
Maromi says, "Don't have a wrench for a link." Maromi doesn't have a wrench. What travesty is this, Maromi? Hold on a sec. Hold on. Now I must play a video. Where is it? It's the video I can never find, ever. Oh, there it is. All right, Maromi. There you go, my friend. I actually noticed, it's like that's what happens when you stream. People come in and people leave. And I went through my wrenches the other day. I'm like, oh wow, these guys never turn up. So it might be time I send some wrenches around. Yeah, Global Comics. I'm gonna put the Lucent up on Global Comics. I think what you do is you have the first few pages available to read, and then the rest is you got to sign up to become a paid member of Global Comics, and then you can read everything. I think that's a pretty good deal. But yeah, you're right. I mean, monetizing it. Who said it here? It's for outreach, but it's hard to convert these fans into customers. Well, I think it's a numbers thing. Some of these books have millions of people reading them, and then you get whatever it is, 0.1% who turn up to buy the hard copy, and that's 100,000 or whatever. I don't know. Don't check my maths, by the way. I just pull those numbers out of my ass. Yeah, no, I think it's the way to go, and I actually loved it. I loved being on Webtoons. It was great. People talking about your characters and really interested and wanting to see what's coming next. It was good. It was just, it was the money. How do you make any money off it? They aren't books, they're newspaper shits. No. There's actual books. Like, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think Power of God is one of the big ones. They're all sort of more manga, that I've seen, but there have been other ones. The one I liked, it was Scurry. That was a web comic, not on Webtoons, but a web comic. And he did crowdfunds afterwards for the hardcovers, and they all made over 100 grand. So it is mostly romance stuff though. So Romy's out of here. I'm gonna be out of here too. I get ready to go to work, but I got to figure out how I'm going to do his gloop. I think it started. Most of the gloop though will be in the painting, but hang on, I'll turn on the other thing. Getting there. Blah. A lot of people like it, Roy. It's not my thing, but more people read it than anything else. So this looks so cool. Thank you, Sleeping Psychopathy. I think the skull might be a bit big. Someone said that earlier, but that's the cool thing about digital. I can just shrink it down. All right, thank you everyone for hanging out. I'll probably finish this up later tonight and post it on Twitter. And on to the next one, who I think will be the double, which is James and Amita. So thank you everyone for hanging out while I chatted. Jav says manga market was around 2/3 girls here in Germany 15 years ago. Haven't kept up with it for statistics, but from what I've seen, Tokyo Pop wouldn't doubt it stayed roughly the same. That's what it is on Webtoon. I think it's mostly chicks. I would say even more than 2/3. So I don't think the Lucent would go massive over there, but it did well. It was on 25,000 followers at one point. So wait, he opened the sarcophagus. That is not the sarcophagus. That is the pit. It's styled after the sarcophagus. Well, I like that people know things. Yes, good. Very interesting. I can't wait to you guys to see what's on the back. And it's going to be like puzzle pieces, because the Lucent is like a puzzle, and I'm going to be giving you more pieces. So I'm to figure some more stuff out. So very exciting. Please do sign up if you haven't already joined the mailing list. You're going to want to be on it. And other than that, I might go hang out with Jake later, Jake and Rini. But I'll see how busy I am because I'll be working at the same time. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. And I will see you next time. Oh, one last thing. I can't stream tomorrow. The kids have a jiu-jitsu competition. So I might do one either on the Saturday or the Sunday. We'll see. All right. Bye.
Perth made an Australian video and I wasn't even in it.
Emotional damage.